Oh. That's the Joe. It's the pillows in the console.
No, wait, go on. Microphone on. Only have to go. That's why thank you so much. There's your name. 6 tuck place. But it's not really good. I don't know who the winner is.
We didn't open them. I said we didn't open them at home.
It's good to know I did. It's got on the yes.
Well, if we aren't starting yet.
Who is the I don't know. Let's look for the person with the whip. I don't know who the master ceremony would expect it to be. They said they were starting immediately. So
well, let's start the video already now.
Michael Dobson here, he's the one with the radio voice. He could stand up there and sound I don't think he
well,
no. I did. Oh, you did, okay.
Yeah.
Right. You've got that radio. I've already we already hijacked one panel. if nothing happens, we'll just get up and start the program. Right. Yeah.
Who else does?
I can make up all of your words.
No. She's her arthritis has been pretty bad. So she's suddenly got an acute flare-up of her arthritis in her hip. She's been having to use a stick. Yeah.
One person that we did notice is not here is
who? So you said she wasn't coming for some reason.
Yeah, I think she had another engagement.
I think so. That's what I remember hearing on those lists. Yeah.
I know some years ago she broke the record. She'd gone down to every one.
Yeah, yeah. And it is a bit surprising. She said yeah, it is a bit surprising. That's the way it is.
Start making noise.
We Collins type job to start things off.
Catherine, what's the start time? Are you starting soon, or what? What's the plan? Soon. Real soon now. Right, got it.
In Danish, it's Ret Snart. My only Danish phrase.
Well, that's good to know.
I think we're waiting for our announcer to return.
Well, is this Sandra the announcer?
What?
Colin says we're waiting to start as soon as Sandra gets back.
Well, I'm not sure who all we're waiting for.
Well, Colin says it's Sandra Bond. You're here. And it's obviously go to the toilet or something. I don't know what. I didn't think Sandra had any special role, but
I think it might be just not wanting to start before.
That could be it. Yeah. But on the other hand, you can't wait for everybody's been to the toilet.
That's what he's doing.
I know Carol's away now too.
Is it? Well.
Oh, I see. Why he's missing? I don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. Here's Sandra. Here's Sandra.
5 minutes, we'll lose patience.
Well, very so here's Sandra back. Carol will maybe just have to wait.
I'm not on Facebook.
Well, yes, right.
And I thought I got it.
like a piece of Northwest.
Well, it's very northwest indeed. It came from the Museum of Anchorage, Alaska.
Yay.
Well, good afternoon. Is there good enough bacon?
Oh.
Okay, we're gonna start off with just some short announcements and then get into the awards part of things. First off, anybody who's leaving between 3 and 4 and wants to share a cab out to the airport, please talk to Spike. And
Yeah, I should also mention that the envelopes with the registration materials, they also contain fanzines. So if you haven't picked up your envelope yet, please do so, and you will go home with an extra fanzine or two. And I should also mention that we still have some t-shirts available. We'll be selling them after we're done with the festivities this afternoon.
okay, and if you see an envelope for someone that's not here and you're in a position to deliver it, we really appreciate that.
Okay.
Quick question.
Oh, yes.
Envelopes for people who aren't here are also ones that we can put fanzines that we want to send to them in?
Absolutely, and if we don't find someone to do a hand carry, we'll mail them.
Okay, so, yeah.
So it's a way to get zines to people without having to post them individually.
Yeah.
We'll take the one for John Barry.
Oh, thank you.
And we'll check.
Right.
It's just come.
Good, I'll give it the rest of the
Well,
RJ.
that's how it's just.
They're right here.
He knows where the thing is.
We've done it now, however.
I'm going to get some next week.
More food, yeah.
More food, yes.
And now I'd like to call upon our guest of honor this year, Alan Rosenthal.
Testing. Thank you. I had briefly considered ending my speech right here, as there is precedent now. But I find that I can't really end a speech without a proper beginning. So the problem was then deciding where to start. I could talk about my kindergarten teacher, but as she just wanted to have me institutionalized, that didn't really seem right. My second grade English teacher introduced me to Danny Dunn and the anti-gravity paint, except I'd already read it the previous year. And then I recalled Terentia's advice to her husband Cicero, make your speech shorter. So here we go. It's been more than 40 years since I was cajoled into attending my first meeting of the Ontario Science Fiction Club. What made it worthwhile to me, if I remember it correctly, was that John Brunner would be speaking at the meeting as a special guest, and in fact, he was there. He spent much of the meeting reading his poetry, which was interesting to me, and I really wish I could find some of it in published form. But what came after the meeting was actually of far greater importance. Somebody walked up to me and asked me if I had enjoyed the previous night's episode of Battlestar Galactica. And when I responded that I didn't watch that crap, I was invited to Chips and Coffee with the Derelicts. And well, here I am. I can't imagine what my life would have been like if I had only made the time to watch Cylons on Friday night. For one thing, I wouldn't have had to write this speech. So, 40 years is in some ways a lot of time. It's not just 40 years of memory, but it's 40 years of participatory memory, for lack of a better term. All of us have, to a certain extent, shared the same space over these years, both physical space and spaces in memory. And although this room may be small, it contains thousands of years of collective memories. Not just our memories, but memories of those that either aren't here or are no longer here. How many of you have sometimes felt that you've attended a convention that occurred before you were born? How many of you have told actual attendees of those conventions that their memories of them were wrong? Enough of that. 40 years may be an eternity to the people I work with. I'm one of the older people in software technical writing. But in this room, I kind of still feel that I'm a neo, a rank amateur, as it were, although not too rank, I hope. And that is why there must have been a terrible, terrible mistake. I am not the Alan Rosenthal that was chosen by the committee to be honored here. It must have been the other Alan Rosenthal, the other Alan J. Rosenthal, no less. We have many friends in common, but have never met, although I have met his father on a couple of occasions. Over the years, I have been mistaken for him on many occasions, and I suppose he may have been mistaken for me as well. But as we have never met, I cannot confirm this. I have been done for his overdue library books. I have had my university graduation threatened because he had not yet turned in his thesis. I have been telephoned by all 3 Toronto newspapers to comment on his latest arrest for civil disobedience at the Parliament March. These are 3 glorious lost opportunities that I totally botched. But if somebody representing themselves to be a newspaper reporter telephoned you at 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning, wouldn't you have told them to fuck off? You would think by the time the 3rd newspaper called, I would have realized that it hadn't been a prank, but no. I've often wondered why it is that he and I have never met, and I think I finally found the answer in the words of Harold Firth, a physicist, and I don't think he worked on the Manhattan Project, but he was active in the 50s, 60s, and 70s at Los Alamos. This is called Perils of Modern Living and was first published in the New Yorker in 1956. Well up above the tropostrata, there is a region stark and stellar, where, on a streak of antimatter, lived Dr. Edward Antiteller. Remote from fusion's origin, he lived unguessed and unawares, with all his anti-kith and kin, and kept Macassars on his chairs. One morning, idling by the sea, he spied a tin of monstrous girth that bore the letters AEC, outstepped a visitor from Earth. Then, shouting gladly o'er the sands, met 2 who in their alien ways were like as lentils, their right hands clasped, and the rest was gamma rays. Thank you, good night, and good luck.
Now I'd like to call on Jerry Kaufman to present the Grant Awards.
Good afternoon. We want to thank Nick Ferry, or Fari, I always mispronounce his name, not on purpose. And he advertised the fan awards this year. He put together a list of eligible zines, writers, artists, and so forth. He counted the ballots, and he sent me these envelopes, which have the top vote getters listed on the outside and the secret results inside. I do not know any of the winners yet. I want to mention that this was a weighted ballot. Whoever you put in for first place got 5 points. Anybody you put in for second place, the second slot on the ballot, got 3 points. And anybody you put in the third slot got 1 point, which means that somebody who got 5 mentions but in third place had the same number of points as someone who got one mention at first place. So interesting results. So I will start with the Harry Warner Jr. Award for Best Letter Hack. This is not a Hugo. There are 6 names on this list due to a 3-way 4th place tie. Okay, and they're in alphabetical order. Robert Lakeman, Lloyd Penny, David Red, Paul Skelton, Milt Stevens, and John Thiel. And the person who gets the Harry Warner Letter Hack Fan Award, it is a nice certificate. It is a tie between Robert Lakeman and Milt Stevens. As neither of these people are here, I'm assuming that unless Jeannie wants to, except for Robert.
Yes, I'll take it to him.
Okay, is there a second, is there a second certificate for Milt? Yeah. I'm sorry.
Milt don't need no certificate, Jerry.
Well, I thought he might, his family might want it.
Oh, that's a good, yeah.
Okay, the next one is for online activity. Our top 5, Ansible News, David Langford, Randy Byers, efanzines.com, Bill Burns, feelwall.org.uk, Rob Hansen, and file770.com, Mike Glyer. And this goes to efanzines.com.
Thank you. Nick and I were actually discussing all year how we're going to open this up and get some other people in that aren't efanzines.com. And I vote for various sites, and we're still working on it. I'm very pleased to have the award, but there are many other deserving websites that really should be considered in future as well. So thank you, everyone.
And the next award will be the best fanzine cover, and I'll be reading the name of the fanzine and the name of the artist. Starting with Beam, number 12, Steve Stiles. Chunga, 25, Sue Mason. Iota, 13, Ditmar. Rubber Crab, number 8, Graham West. And Vibrator 45, Steve Stiles. And the winner is Rubber Crab number 8, cover by Graham West. Okay, one art award leads to another. Fan artist, our top 5, Brad Foster, Ramos Funes, Ulrika O'Brien, Steve Stiles, and Carol Wayne. And the winner is Steve Stiles. Okay, and next we have fan writer. Our top 5. Claire Briley, Randy Byers, Jacqueline Monahan, Mark Plummer, and John Field.
You ready to hear a comment from the back of the room?
As Randy Byers. Jerry, are you gonna come? Yeah, Jerry's gonna come up and say a few words.
And anybody else who wouldn't be able to do this on their own but wants to join in, please do. It's pretty. Just shortly before, number one, on behalf of Randy and on behalf of all of us, thank you.
Andy asked if I could do that, and I basically went, no way, and all of us were like, no one of us could come up and do this. But on behalf of everyone here, I'm accepting, and we are accepting together on Randy's behalf and in his memory. Thank you.
Randy would say that everyone deserves some credit because we were his audience.
Excellent.
Thank you. All right. Next, we're going to look at special publication. Nick had only been able to come up with 3 to put on his list, but other people knew many other examples, so we do have 5 on this list. Starting with Is There a Doctor in the House? Published by Terrell. Same Planet, Different World, Jacqueline Monahan. The Taft Trip Report Anthology, edited by Dave Langford. The Frank Arnold Papers, edited by Rob Hansen. And The Rose Motel by William Breidig. Same Planet, Different World by Jackie Monahan. Okay, now we're going to do Persing, the best Persing. There are 6 on this list due to a 5th place tie. Ansible, Dave Langford. Flag, Andy Hooper. Iota, Lee Edmonds. The PDF Dragon, John Thiel. The White Notebooks, Pete Young. And Vibrator, Graham Charnock. Vibrator, Graham Charnock. Whoa. Graham will be so pleased. Okay, and our final award, voted on, not quite our final, but the final one that was actually voted on directly, Genzine, and our top 5, Banana Wings, Claire Briley and Mark Plummer. Bean, Nick Ferry and Ulrika O'Brien. Chunga, Randy Byers, Andy Hooper, and Carl Juarez. It's all in lowercase, you know. Pablo Lennis, John Thiel, and Rubber Crab, Graham James. And it's Beam, edited by Nick Murray and Ulrika O'Brien. I accept this on behalf of Ulrika anyway. Okay, all right, the last envelope is the #1 fan face, and if past practice is the same, this is just the top overall vote getters. The points are added up from all the different categories. So we have 5 people on this list: Randy Byers, Nick Farley, Jacqueline Monahan, Mark Plummer, and Steve Stiles. Those first place votes add up. And the #1 fan face of 2017, Jacqueline Monahan. Well, and I just want to once more thank Nick Farley for doing all the work on running the votes and adding everything up and creating these announcements. And we should all give a big hand. Whoa.
Jerry?
Yeah.
One more thing.
Yes.
You're going to introduce me?
Oh,
Well, I thought that Colin was going to do that.
He is a man who needs no introduction.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Actually, Colin is going, oh well.
Colin is, I beat him to the.
No, introduce Colin.
Colin, one of your co-chairs, Colin Hins.
Thank you. Okay, on next call on Andy Hooper to prevent, do something, come up here and do something. To present the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah.
Is this one working? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I failed to prevent the Lifetime Achievement Award from being selected this year. If you read my fanzine flag, and I think I've foisted one on everybody by now, you've got a list of the previous winners of the Lifetime Achievement Award, which was an innovation at Corflu Cobalt in 2009. Our first recipient was Ted White. And since then, we have added a number of other recipients, which I'm not going to recite because I can't remember them all. But they've all been interesting, worthy members of the Corflu community. They've been devoted to fanzine publishing and other forms of written fan activity for most of their lives. And the person that we're adding to that group this year is much the same. I'm very happy to announce that the winner of the 2017 Lifetime Achievement Award is Bruce Richard Gillespie. Now, I think most of the people in this room are quite familiar with Bruce. We had a special fund at Corflu 22 to bring Bruce Bayside, and he attended Corflu Titanium and made that a very memorable event. He also brought a hideous flu with him from Australia, which nearly killed several members of fandom. But again, it made for a very memorable year. One of the reasons I was late getting down here was I went to jot down some things about Bruce and went to the ISFDB and Fancyclopedia 3, and he's got a Wikipedia page, although there's not a lot there. And then, so I started to write down credits of Bruce's, and there's a 1 page, and then there was 2 pages, 3 pages, 4 pages of credits. And so I think he's well-deserving. Most of us have known Bruce for publishing the fantastic Circon-oriented Genzine science fiction commentary since 1969. He's also he's been responsible for titles like the Metaphysical Review. He co-published Steam Engine Time with Jan Stinson, with Maureen Kincaid-Smeller and Paul Kincaid. He has a long-running personal fanzine called BRG, which is so inspirational that it's inspired fanzines such as MDP and APH. He was a founding member of ANZAPA, and among his ANZAPA fanzines are the Collingwood Capers, Good Night, Sweet Prince, Mellow, Notes of a Half-Son, Raw Bits, Wordy Gurdy, Supersonic Snail, and Kisses Sweeter Than Wine. He also was responsible for Invisible Whistling Bunyips, an Apple 45 zine. And his Asnistas contribution was The Great Cosmic Donut of Life. He also was responsible, along with Carrie Hanfield and Rob Gerard, for Nostrilla Press, which was one of Australia's first and important science fiction small presses. Among their other achievements was the publication of Greg Eaton's first novel. Bruce has very sensibly avoided a lot of organized con running, but he's very much responsible for the sequence of Australian Worldcons, which we've enjoyed. I can't imagine that AussieCon would ever have taken place in '75 without Bruce's contribution to international publicity. But he is three-time Hugo nominee, although not since the early 1970s, which is something we might think about trying to do something about. He won the Fan Award for Best Fan Writer in 2009. He has won more Ditmar Awards than Dave Langford has won Hugos. And what else? He's fan guest of honor at AussieCon 3 in 1999. Oh, and finally, of course, most importantly, he was elected past president of FWA for the year 2004. And I believe he served in a remarkably quiescent and unoffensive manner. Anyway, Bruce has basically devoted his entire adult life to fandom. I think his accomplishments through that effort have been exemplary, if not wildly intimidating. And I continue to regard him as one of the finest writers that our field has produced. He is still remarkably active. He says to me every time, I will not be able to make any paper copies of science fiction commentary this time. I'm very sorry, and here's yours. So he remains also one of the more generous people that I've encountered in fandom, both intellectually and physically. And I would just like you to join me in congratulating him on being recognized for this exemplary record of achievement.
I have a certificate here that I will mail to Bruce, and if you want to include your fanzine along with the certificate, just please bring it to me and I'll stuff it in the envelope.
Okay, it's not like I really need to introduce Ted, but I do want to mention that I'm one of the people who's in fandom because he ran Clubhouse columns in his prozines, and I bet I'm not the only one here. Anyway, Ted's going to come up and do the past president of FWA business. Please welcome Ted.
Been doing since very early Corflu, and it has achieved a life of its own. The Fan Writers of America was initially formed in 1984. Whoa! At the LA WorldCon in an incredibly smoke-filled party. And the concept is a rather simple one. We're all fan writers by fiat. And beyond that, for the purposes of this discussion, we're all Americans, even those of us who aren't. And therefore, the Fan Writers of America is a worldwide, all-encompassing cartel. And every year we elect last year's president. So we're now about to elect the president for 2017. The past president of FWA has absolutely no duties whatsoever. It is a total honorific. And under those circumstances, I would like to throw open nominations for the 2017 past president. Yes, call.
Steve Stiles.
Steve Stiles. Has he not?
He's not, yeah.
Okay.
And Alan knows, because he looked it up. I would like to nominate Sarah Wayne McDonald.
Have we any other nominations? Our nomination's closed then. All right. Well, it's interesting. Two fan artists.
Yes.
I'm not sure we've ever had exactly this form of contest in previous elections, so nice to see a little novelty injected into what would otherwise be a boring routine. So, I will now ask you, all of you who want to vote for Steve Stiles, to raise your hands. And for Terrell? Okay, it's obvious. Terrell has won. Thank you very much.
What happened? You were president. Did you like it?
Well done.
Good job.
Your moment in the sun is come and gone.
You want an acceptance speech? Bring you the mic.
Literally, I wasn't listening.
You were elected the past president of the Fan Writers of America.
Oh,
2017. That's for 2017. You have no duties.
Right. Well, maybe I get a fresh copy next time.
That's possible.
Whoa, yeah. Are you gonna start tweeting a lot?
I was listening.
You already did.
It's spelled coffee.
Why are you looking at me?
Okay, so with any convention, it takes a lot of people to make it happen, and Colin's going to join me in thanking the numerous people who've helped out, and I just want to start out with Diane Lacey, who's done a wonderful job on Con Street. I think everyone at Con at some point has come up to me and said, Diane's cooking. You know, and yes, it rocks.
First Corflu.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what's his fortune? Is it
Okay, next person to thank is Kevin for providing all the technical assistance, such as the PA, the projector, and so forth, as well as doing the pictography.
And Reese's Pieces.
And I'd like to thank Jerry for being our beer goddess.
And also to thank Murray Moore for doing registration this weekend.
I'd also like to thank Pablo and two of our neos, Adam and Kessler, who've all been really helpful with, you know, just carrying things around and helping out in the con suite, and it's made a huge difference.
Next, I'd like to thank Lance Sibley for preparing the memorial reel.
I'd like to thank Sandra and Andy and Carrie for doing auction stuff and raising a bunch of money for Corflu and for the fan funds.
And I especially would like to thank Bill Burns for all the updates to the website.
I'd like to thank Rob Jackson for being our UK agent and for organizing the streaming. Thanks a lot, Rob.
And of course, Nick Barry deserves a great deal of recognition for administering the fan awards.
I'd like to thank Kurt Erickson for bringing, reconditioning and bringing a Mimeo and a Ditto machine.
And lastly, a big thank you to everyone who came a long way to be here with us.
In a moment, we'll be showing the memorial reel, and we'll have a minute of silence afterwards.
Can I call for a vote of thanks to Colin and Catherine for organizing this one?
It's so sweet of you to use the word organizing.
I'm British, you know.
Michael, when do you get to talk about next year?
After the memorial, we got to get everybody depressed before I announce
Yeah,
it.
okay.
Now I'd like to call on Michael Dobson to present his bid for next year's Corflu.
Well, there's nothing like a big span of death to get everybody in the mood. I know you have many bidders to choose from, and to single out, the Rockville, Maryland, DC bid is a great honor that we hope to be worthy of. We'll start with, I know that everybody brought you copies of Random Challenge 13 and have already filled out the registration form on the back page. If you have not, we'll take, well, just about anything that is legible that deals with it. All right, so the DC area Corflu, with luck, we may have a different president by then, but that kind of luck normally doesn't hit us very well. The 2019 Corflu, in spite of what it says in the fanzine, will not take place from May 2 to May 6, but rather from May 2 to May 5, because it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I have 3 people already pointed that out within hours of its posting on e-fanzine, but that's fandom for you. We're trying to do a couple of things. I mean, you might as well try some different things each time. We are located in Rockville, Maryland, which is a relatively close-in DC suburb. It is 2 blocks from the metro. From 2 of the 3 DC airports, you can get there directly and fairly easily on public transportation. You can get there from Baltimore on public transportation, but I do not recommend it. Rockville has one of those fake reconditioned downtowns. So around the hotel is a 3-block area, a square block area that has maybe 30 to 40 restaurants. And next door to our hotel is located an establishment known as the World of Beer. For those of you whose tours and ambitions go beyond the world of beer, Rockville is also the where F. Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald are buried, so they're about a few minute walk from the hotel. And on the metro, you can see the full range of normal DC tourist attractions. We're trying to encourage people to make this a vacation, and you want to come in the week before. We can't give you the weekend special convention rate of $109 a night, but we will be able to get you a discount on regular hotel rooms. We're looking at trying to organize various things that you can do. We'll give you a lot of choice in the matter. We're not going to settle on what happens on what day until fairly late in the process. But we have one volunteer immediately. Kurt Phillips is going to lead a Gettysburg Battlefield Death March. So that's right. So you'll be able to.
I was going to do that, guy.
Andy, one of the things, and I was going to corner you about this a little bit later, but we're not on the balcony. I was going to say that the ability to lead something historic and something worthwhile, something that takes advantage of all the resources of DC, I was definitely going to ask you to do something. So Gettysburg may be out, but Antietam is close by. You can go see where Barbara Fritchie stuck her head out the window in Frederick, Maryland. Lots of other things. Uncle Tom's Cabin, the actual one, is located a couple of miles from us. The book was based on a slave autobiography, and that particular slave, the model for Uncle Tom, his cabin is fairly close. So it's some off the beaten path attractions. I'm going to try to leverage my old contacts, and I do mean old contacts, at the Air and Space Museum to see if I can get us backstage for something. I can't promise that'll happen, but I will try. And there are plenty. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. Spy Museum. Sorry. Now, the great thing about the Spy Museum is it's also located in the Gallery Place neighborhood, along with the National Museum of American Art, the National Portrait Gallery. Colleen Brown Stockman used to work at the Museum of American Art, so I'm hoping to twist her arm to do something in that area. They also have a crime museum and a bunch of other things, again, within a few block walk. And the pitiful excuse for Chinatown that DC has. There are a couple of Chinese restaurants in it. We should have a good time. Let's see, the room rates, as I said, $109. Membership, right? Membership, though, one of the things that I've noticed is that we have folks here, you know, in our world who are on a relatively fixed income, and we have some with different financial means. So taking a page from my TrumpCon speech in at the Chicago Corflu, I am I'm offering a premium membership, which will be the regular membership, attending membership, $100, and for an extra $60, you're a premium member. What do you get? Well, somewhere between 25 and 30 of that will go into a special gift for those who contribute. What do I want to do with the money? First thing I want awards. We can't really assess everybody for the awards, but if we can come up with some money, we can give some nice trophies to that, you know, people get the fan awards, deserve to have something nice to go with it. Even more, and I haven't figured out quite how to do this yet, and I'm open for suggestions. We have Corflu 50 that pays the way for somebody to come here every year and takes care of their expenses. But there are a lot of people we want here. There are a lot of people we want to see year after year after year, and they're not always in a good position to do so. So I'm trying to find a way where if we can't pay everybody's expenses completely, maybe we can find a way to take some of the folks that we'd like, some of the people who might not be able to come here otherwise, and at least give them a partial subsidy. You know, $300, $400, $500, something in that line, enough to make it perhaps go from impossible to
highly unlikely.
Highly unlikely, right? Yes, I do. If I had to do this, I do plan to give any checks at the convention, so they have to show up to get the money. So one way or another will be good. I will throw this open for questions if there's anything that that you want to know about the bid. Yes, ma'am.
Can I add a little bit of information for something we haven't I've talked with you about, but it's expanding. I've had the sense that you want a highly participatory Corflu.
Oh, yes. I don't want to do any work. I need volunteers.
I want to do a different, but I want to do a treehouse tasting, and Spike wants to head up a wine tasting, and we're going to collaborate so that it will be a shared event, so people who like one or the other can all come to the same place, and we can do that together.
Right, but whining is, you know, is already a big part of the Corflu experience. But yes, absolutely. We have a comedy routine that will probably be offered. We've been talking about that. Andy will do a play, and you know that'll take at least 5 hours of programming. So,
would you like to have some sort of anthology or publication?
Oh yes. For publications, since I'm going to do random jottings anyway, and you know I don't have to charge the convention budget for this. What I'm planning on, aside from running up my issue numbers by making all of the progress reports issues of random jottings, you know, you got to do it somehow. I want to do two things. The first one that would be available at Corflu is a crowdsourced fanthology, and there are two ways to be part of that. Number one, you pick and take care of any clearances that are necessary for a piece of fan writing that you like, period. And you can either scan the original fanzine pages in a good high-quality scan, or retype it, and write a short piece about why it is that you picked that particular piece. Whatever I get, I will publish, and that will be the issue of Random Jottings. For the following year, though, I want to do a proceedings book, and to do that, I'm going to ask everybody who comes to volunteer to write a comment report on one item, one panel, one evening, one activity, and take pictures and do one. And then we're going to add all of these together into a giant, highly detailed con report on the entire experience. And a lot of pictures, because let's face it, we might not look good, but we do want to remember what each other looks like. And so we'll do that. That'll come out the following year. So that's the publications thing. What else would you like to know? I will be running a contest because, I mean, I'm not sure, I've been calling it Corflu of the Beast because 36 and up turns into 666. And I figured that's sort of appropriate for DC. I was taking a look, 36 is also an airless woods number, but we're not out of the woods yet. And finally, you know, we could have a bridge tournament, and then we could name it Corflu No Trump. I want to avoid politics at all costs. So if we call it Corflu No Trump, I want you to know it's just about bridge. So I am looking for additional suggestions. I do not plan on a T-shirt because we all have too many, but I do plan on something available. Again, I've got a pile of catalogs and I've got some notes, but I don't really need to decide before the end of the year. So
How about make fandom great again hats?
Right. Well, I did in Random Johnny's 13, I did point out, you know, one model where MAGA stands for zine. Right.
But I'm fun.
That's right. Let me do something. Yes.
Beer mugs.
Beer mugs. Yeah, I looked at the idea. My only concern with glassware of one sort or another is the problem in taking it home.
Mugs are pretty sturdy.
Good,
You
okay,
get
good.
from Potlatch, and they're pretty sturdy. I
Yeah,
mean,
beer mugs would be a great thing. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, that's a great idea. Again, my only qualm about that was breakability, and if that's not a big issue, then that sounds like a great idea. That would be.
Plastic.
You can have too many T-shirts, but you can't have too many beer mugs.
You have to look into, you're not getting fine crystal here.
Yeah, right.
It'd be too expensive.
Yeah. Okay, and you know, there's a lot of interesting stuff out there. Something, you know, relatively low in price, but my orientation being what it is, high in markup. Right. Fair.
Can I just check with you the position on supporting membership rates?
Oh, yes. I've evidently plunged in the bar into war, because I had talked about supporting at $60, with again the idea that the gift that you would get, I mean, let's face it, you guys are all gonna get my fanzines for free anyway, so I can't really tout that as a supporting membership benefit because, you know, don't give us any money, you're still gonna get a copy. But evidently, this gift notwithstanding, this does not seem to be the most popular price. So I haven't decided precisely how to do it, but I will make something available for people who wish to contribute less, but still want to be part of the overall Corflu
You
experience.
could create a supporting membership and a mildly positive attitude membership.
Right, yeah. Trading membership, or, the special pauper rate, you know, all kinds of things we can do. Yes, there will actually be another progress report coming out within a couple of weeks. And then there will be silence after that for a good long time. The reason there will be one in a couple of weeks is that the hotel computer cannot accept reservations more than a year in advance, so we can't get our booking link. Now, if you're coming in just for the con, go ahead and use the booking link that we provide and use the discount code that we will also provide, and good. If you would like to come in for a longer period of time, as I said, the hotel says they can't necessarily give us the same $109 rate if you want to stay the whole week. But our contact said if I call her directly, she will go to bat and try to get a good special rate. She said around 120, but she can't make a promise at this point. So if you want to do that, instead of making your reservations through the hotel site, let me know what you want, and then I'll work with her, and then we'll figure out how to get it done. So there'll be that. What else? So
point on communications, Michael.
Communications.
Yeah. We've talked about the website. I'll just take the existing Corflu
Absolutely.
website, archive Corflu 35, and roll up Corflu 36.
Right.
Probably about the same time we put out your next PR, I would think.
Right, and we should be able to do that.
Yeah, we'd also talk about the Facebook page. You thought the
I was just going to ask, may I have your Facebook page?
Sure.
Good, and you can change, I'll just, change the name to Corflu 36 and throw me on as an administrator.
I'll make you an admin the next time I'm online, sure.
Wonderful, and then we'll just change the name of the group to Corflu 36, and
One other point that-
then you're already, all of you are already part of that, so you don't have to, I don't have to chase people down.
And everybody should get notified email unless they opt out from it, because a lot of people don't read Facebook. Or not
I
read
will,
Facebook.
I will do that. I will set up an email list, and I will make sure that at least notifications, there's a new progress report available, there's information will go out. Absolutely, Andy.
I'd like to move to call a question before you change your mind.
All right. How many of you are opposed? All right. How many more? All right. Well, I hope you enjoy your trip to scenic Rockville, Maryland next year. Please come. Write your. Here's the other thing. I'll get to. Write your friends. Send them invitations. All the folks that ought to be here, that are part of our world, that are part of our circle, that need that extra encouragement, if they are invited personally and individually, and especially if they're invited personally and individually by a number of us, that should help push people over the top. If you find people whose only obstacle to coming is, a few $100s, again, let's identify that and see what we can do to solve those problems. Names that most of you ever heard of, I'm pushing some of my really oldest friends in fandom, Ed Smith, Lane Lambert, and folks I'm still in touch with who have, see if I can get them out one more time, to see the crowd. So we'll do that. Yes, Jerry, and then Sandra.
Would you talk about how we can pay if we want to buy a membership?
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I am set up. I take checks. I take credit cards. You can pay, you can do Apple Pay. I've got the chip reader and everything with me. I can take PayPal. I can take Venmo. I will even accept cash with proper identification.
Canadian or American?
Canadian or American. All prices are in real money. American, yes. I don't want to do the conversion, so yeah, if you're going to pay me here, please make it U.S. dollars. I don't know what it would have to, if somebody could tell me what it is in Canadian, I can.
125 at the moment.
About 125? Okay, fine. 125 Canadian, 100 American. I made a schedule for where I'd be increasing the membership rates. I think I'm going to probably push out the deadline at the $100 rate further.
Yeah, I think would be a good idea.
Right, and that's okay. The advantage of knowing I've got a progress report, I could throw out a lot of trial balloons, find out which ones are not
good to be flexible.
Right, yeah, and we'll make all the adjustments necessary. Sandra, you had something?
I was going to say Mr. Joey, so don't worry.
Oh, okay. So that was going to be asked in stereo? Yes. No? Yes.
On Venmo, are you Michael Dobson too?
I don't remember. I don't remember. On PayPal, again, it's my business account. Oh, there is a secret membership rate. And I'll tell you about this because no one else will care. But I discovered if I made the convention an activity of my publishing imprint, any losses are tax deductible. So there is a corporate membership rate, but I'm the only person who bought a corporate membership because I'm the only person who's going to get a benefit from it. So that's not one of the official options.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. But well, if anybody wants a corporate membership or anybody can figure out a way to tax advantage their Corflu experience, I will be happy to work with you to make sure that you get all the benefits that you are entitled to and even some that you may not be entitled to. All right, so we'll do that. Okay, the premium, oh yes, the other one is, in order to try to attract folks who haven't been here for a while, I'm offering the Prodigal Fan Discount. And that is $25 off the whatever current attending membership rate is at any point if you have not been to any of the last 3 Corflus. And so just a little bit of something just to encourage people to take that extra effort and to show how much we want people to come to the convention. We care about you so much, we'll give you $25, right?
Is that discount?
And what else how else can we show how much we love you?
Does that discount apply to supporting membership?
I thought of that as one of the ways to solve the problem of the $60 membership, but I just haven't decided. The point of the 25 of the Prodigal Fan discount is for you to get your ass over, to the convention, and that being what we want to encourage, I'm not inclined to offer it for supporting only. If you buy supporting and upgrade, you can upgrade at whatever the rate was at the time you bought the supporting, even if the attending rate has gone up in the meantime. So if you buy a supporting right now because you're not sure you're going to come, and then you decide to upgrade to attending, even if you do it by the time the admission is $125 or $150, you can still have the $100 net rate. So there, so it's that. If you're not sure you're going to come, but want to keep your options open, go ahead and buy a supporting membership. I have, as tradition, assigned Ted White, number 17, and our membership numbers. But we can auction off really good numbers if anybody cares. I have a receipt book with me. What else can I answer? Anything else? I'll be around till about 5:15, I think, right? And to answer anything else. And in the meantime, get your money ready, and we'd be very, very happy to help you. Thank you.
In a leap of faith, I'm going to buy an attending membership, and if regime change occurs, I'll be there, and if not, I'm going to donate my membership to, someone Michael thinks needs one. Okay, can I get Jerry to come up and tell you all about the dead dog?
Yeah.
By the way, Consuites will be open after the banquet until, we have to be out by 6, but Jerry will tell you about what's happening afterwards.
I was going to say, does the rest of the, I believe they make you an honorary member of the Featherless Squink Ball, but if Ginny and Ellen and Pat want to come up too, we can, have a song and dance.
The address details, you don't want to do the.
I don't. So when Pat and I checked in late Thursday night, the hotel very nicely upgraded us to one of the large suites. That's one floor underneath the concrete. It's the 901. And then after we were here, Jeannie and Ellen were outside their door, and there's a connecting door between them. They're in 902. And so we have a really lovely suite complex that we have offered up for the dead dog. We do have something of a sense of self-preservation. So first of all, because several of us are going to be out early this afternoon or mid-afternoon stuff, and we want a dinner break, the dead dog will start at 7 p.m. So the consuite will close, and then it's like go off and have dinner and then come back to the dead dog. It'll start at 7 p.m. We do have a witching hour. Witching hour is midnight. At midnight, if there are still people partying, they will move to some other, probably Colin and Catherine too. And starting at about 11 o'clock, we are going to be urging people to be cleaning up any of this stuff. Diane and Jeannie are going to work this afternoon on getting stuff down there, and Diane is hosting and stuff. So basically, please don't trash our hotel room. We'll have a tip out to help with a maid's tip for an enhanced maid's tip because we'll have been partying in there. It appears from my early experiments that there will be chocolate robots tonight. And yes, there's more beer. So come party with us. Thank you.
After that, if anyone is still feeling festive, room 809. And also, if anybody has any catering leftovers, we've already got something in place to deal with them. So we feed people. My unit feeds people dinner every Monday, 3 blocks from here. So.
And quick apologies. We do not have a balcony, so ours is a non-smoking place because we don't have a place for smokers to go. So if there's something else, then great.
Thanks a million, Jerry.
and Pat, and Jenny, and
And lastly, as mentioned in the program book, there will be a anthology of Randy Byers' writing. Unfortunately, it wasn't ready for this weekend, so it will be post-mail. However, for nearly every one of the people in this room, I do not have your mailing address. There's a pad of paper at the front of the table here. If you could please put your mailing address there, and I will send you a copy once the anthology is ready.
And we'll need that information from anybody who's buying a membership to mine.
Okay.
Do you have the numbers from the auction yet?
Yes.
Yes.
The auction raised a total of $671 Canadian and $220 US on top of that, of which 130 goes to the Corflu 50, $18 to Duff, and well, Taft gets $2. And I guess at that moment, at this point, I called the official part of Corflu to a close. There are more fanzines up front here. If you could feel free to grab an origami fanzine. It's folded because, as noted on the zines themselves, because you can't fold PDFs.